Good morning, everyone. I am Alex Johnson. I am president of Plano West Rotary. Thank you for joining our meeting on February 23rd. To kick off our meeting, I'm going to hand it over to our amazing Sergeant of Arms, past President Mike Walker. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you. I think we'll start the brag bucks off this afternoon with Michelle.
Okay, well, Glenn stepped away, but let's see. I'm going to brag about plumbers willing to come in the middle of the night.
Amen.
Yeah, we're fine. My parents had a burst pipe that hit the master bath and part of the master bedroom, but all is well. We're okay, and we're going to see our granddaughter later this week. So those are my brags.
Good brags. Anil, do you ever brag this afternoon?
Okay.
Do you ever brag, Anil, you want to share with the club? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me, Anil?
He probably has no idea. I say try someone else. I don't think he knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, during our brag moment, I just go from club member to or guest to see if they have anything they want to brag about.
John's raising his hand.
Okay, we'll skip over to John Mosier. John, do you ever brag?
How about Rotary International's 116th birthday today?
Yes.
Wow. That's older than Clarence. I couldn't help it. Zane, how about you? You ever brag buck today?
Yes, it deals with Snowmageddon. There we go. Now we're ready. Now can you hear me?
I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, this deals with Snowmageddon. In spite of everything going on, I was blessed to have heat at my place.
Oh.
And I think it had a lot to do with my new wife talking so much. She just never. Okay, remember, guys, what's said here stays here, okay?
Unless it's funny.
So I was blessed to have a lot of heat in my place, even without power. I had a lot.
All right, thanks for sharing that. Hey, Howard, do you ever brag today?
Yeah, I will say that we were blessed beyond words, that we didn't lose power, we didn't lose water. We were very, very fortunate compared to so many other people. So that was pretty wonderful.
It was good. Okay. Antonio, you ever brag this afternoon?
Yes, I mean, like it was kind of like during the snow time, like I had a lot of fun with my friends and family. Like we didn't lose power either. I'm very grateful for that, but I'm also grateful for the times that the snow yielded, and it was just like a wintry wonderland. Even though a lot of people had trouble, it was really nice to enjoy the snow in Texas.
That's pretty neat.
Try to focus on that positive side.
Thank you. Hey, Clarence, if I could get you between bites of your lunch there, do you ever brag? Hey, tell your wife to go over and unmute your computer.
Okay, got him. No, we got through the weather all right, but we lost a lot of electricity in the process on and off, and some of the corruption of the power grid. And fortunately, we have a fireplace and plenty of firewood, so that worked fine. And we did cooking from the fireplace during the time, and the ski clothes and long johns felt good.
Yeah, you got to improvise sometimes.
We survived.
Yeah, thank you. Tom, do you ever brag this afternoon, Mr. Posey? You're on mute. If you can unmute your computer.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Tom.
All my snow is gone and I'm disappointed.
What, you didn't get to build a snowman or what?
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, I see you're back. You ever brag?
So, yeah, on this day, what, in 1905, Rotary was founded.
Well, that's a good brag.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is amazing. Let's see, we got here. Hey, John, you ever brag this afternoon? John Curtis?
I guess my brag is that we now have our electricity back, our gas back, our pretty much everything back but hot water. And I talked the plumber to coming over this afternoon and get that sorted out. So brag if I do get a plumber here today.
That would be good. Thank you. Let's see, Eon, you ever brag?
Well, like everybody else, I brag that I'm glad to have survived, as I heard it said, Wintergeddon. That none of my pipes froze up. I turned my pool on, and that pool sweep actually worked. So I have absolutely dodged a bullet. Yeah, Lisa, that's exactly right. Tell David I don't need him right now. But
you were very fortunate, and you have no idea how fortunate you are.
I don't know about the heater yet, and there's still some other things that I haven't tried out. But overall, we are blessed.
Thank you. LaShawn, do you ever brag?
I do. My sweet granddaughter turned 5 on Sunday. The family took her to medieval times, and she said it was the coolest thing ever. And we had the best time.
That's a great experience. Thank you. Pam Blankenship, do you ever brag?
Hi, everybody. Yes, I have a brag. My son is going to have a new baby, so I'm going to be another grandma. So I'm happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bianca, do you ever brag?
I'm just very fortunate to have electricity, and I was able to spend a lot of time with my grandparents last week because they didn't have any electricity or water, but they came over here, and now everything's good.
That's good. Thank you. Max DePlant, do you ever brag?
I do indeed. We have 2 terrific training sessions coming up for our district. The first one is pets. And in the past, it's usually just been the president-elects going to pets. But this year it's virtual and it's only $50. So any of you who want to learn more about Rotary in general can sign up for pets by going to lonestarpets.org. $50. You can't attend the president-elect sessions, but you can attend all the others. There'll be national speakers. It'll be great. And we have Saturday afternoon to talk about the district itself. So you'd be welcome to come to that. The second great training opportunity will be on April 10th. We will have a virtual assembly. And again, because it's virtual, we're being able to line up some really great speakers that we wouldn't otherwise have because they would have to travel in. So that one is free, and it's for all of your officers and any other Rotarian who's interested. Please sign up.
Thank you very much. Lisa, Miss Leach, you ever brag this afternoon?
Yeah, well, like everyone else, I'm really thankful that we didn't lose power or water or hot water, none of it. I don't know why we lucked out, but we did somehow. And then I was just going to do a public service announcement for those who have pools. So please be patient. My husband had 233 missed messages over the weekend.
Wow.
And there's no parts.
I bet that's right.
You can't get anything. You can't get pool pumps. You can't get pool heaters. You can't get anything.
Wow.
Just an FYI. Be patient. That's
Thank
all.
you. Catherine, you ever brag?
No, Mike, we don't have time for another brag. I'm sorry.
I got 1 more minute.
Hey, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate the large crowd that we have. I just got off the phone with Mr. Hewko's administrator assistant. He had another event he's trying to get off. He will be on soon. But what I'd like to do now is turn this over to Tamara, who is going to lead us in prayer. Take it away, Tamara.
I'm sorry, Dolly's here. She's
I
gonna do
made it. Hello, everybody. Okay,
Hi.
let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we know we had some hard times last week, but we are just so very thankful that you see us through it. And no matter what the obstacles or what the problems are, Lord, you know, we will always praise you. We thank you for this time that you've given us together. We ask that we let this meeting be for your glory and your glory alone. Keep us in your service, Lord, and keep each and every one of our families and the families that we serve. Lord, keep them in your grace and your favor. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolly. Next, I would like to ask one of our newest members, Caitlin Jones, who's going to lead us in the pledge. Take it away, Caitlin. Uh-oh, you're muted.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Okay, if you'll join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Now, before we get into our speaker, we are going to do something which I consider to be the most important and exciting thing to do for our Rotary Club, and that is induct a new member. Now, we're kind of excited that John Hewko would be able to witness it, but I don't think he's on yet, so he is going to miss it. But at this point, I am speaking to one person and one person only, and that is Debbie O'Reilly. And Debbie has been volunteering with us for a number of months now, and she has chosen to join our family. So what we want to do, the way we handle our club votes via Zoom, we do it via the Zoom polling. So right now, only the members of our club need to vote. And so all of our guests don't vote. Zane knows exactly who we have online and everything. So ignore this polling if you're not a member, but I'm going to go ahead and launch it now. This is voting for Debbie O'Reilly to be a member of Plano West Rotary. Very cool. Thank you. That's about our number. And it was unanimous, as expected. Debbie's an amazing woman. Woo-hoo-hoo. So now, Debbie, now it's the induction time. So now I'm truly speaking to you. And so everybody else, you're the audience here as we induct Debbie into Rotary International. Debbie O'Reilly, you have been proposed for membership and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you to the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you're aware of Rotary's requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Debbie, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you will have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians, locally and worldwide. I especially commend to you, to your attention, the object of Rotary and the four-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you will have the special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And Neil Jain is a perfect example of that. It's from India visiting our club. And now, by the power vested in me as president of the Rotary Club of Plano West, I pin this Rotary emblem on you and declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary. We look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association in the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International. Welcome, Debbie.
Yay, thank you. Oh, it's such an honor, y'all. Thank you.
This afternoon, Roxana she's chair of our membership chair. Her team, they're going to deliver your new member kit. You're going to have your pin. There's a number of information, and you've already probably heard from her. She's going to bring you on board. But I've known Debbie for years. She's very active in the Plano community. She's been very active with our club, and I'm excited that she is joining our merry band and being part of our family. So thank you very much, Debbie.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure is mine. I really appreciate this, and I'm really looking forward to the future with y'all.
Definitely. First, I want to ask, is Mr. Hewko on yet?
Yes.
Zane. Yes, awesome. So I can't see him. We have so many people. So good morning, John. You are up soon. So I'm going to go through, as we talked, I'm going to kind of go through our standard club meeting. And so with that, I have this next part is on me, and I talk about our club business. So everybody will be shared of some of the things we want to talk about. One, I want us to welcome our new member applicant, Wendy Zambeau, and she is on this call as well. So I think everybody's been reaching out to her. I'm glad you're able to make this meeting, Wendy. She's at work right now, so we weren't sure if she could make it. I also want to congratulate our new board member, Sam Lahani. Sam, didn't I see you? You are on. Awesome. He's actually skipping a class to be here. He's in UT Austin, and we just elected him to be he's our newest member of the board. I dare say he's probably one of the youngest Rotary board members in the world, given that he's 19 and you can only join Rotary at 18. So those that don't know Sam, he was in Interact, he was in RILA. He's a RILA counselor as well now as a freshman in college, and we're active for him to be part of the governance for our club. I also want to point out to our club members, if you use that bit.ly link, you can sign up for our different committees that we have. We need help. As we are growing and doing so many things, we need each and every one to be active in it. And also, we still have 3 more positions on the board that we are interviewing for. So you can use that link to submit your application. And something I really want to point out, Miss LaShawn Ross, she has completed the community assessment for Plano homelessness, which we're going to use as part of our global grant process. So very excited that we've done it. And it's been a lot of effort, and we're partnering with the city of Plano, the Collin County Homeless Coalition. And so it's a very comprehensive global grant process or community assessment. So now we're going to start going through the next steps to be able to apply for a global grant to do something about homelessness in Plano. So thank you, LaShawn. And I know a number of people have expressed an interest to be involved in this global grant team. Go ahead and contact me. We haven't identified the team leader yet, but as we get the people that want to be involved, then we'll determine who's going to lead up that team. But like I said, we're not doing it alone. We're doing it in partnership with the Homeless Coalition, specifically the city of Plano. And so it's going to be a very exciting thing to go through. To move on, to talk about what last week we completed providing volunteers for the emergency warming stations. It was something quick the city of Plano put up. I worked with the city management. We had Courtney and Brandon. They were kind of leading that project, helping us provide volunteers for that. Thank you very much, Courtney and Brandon. We kind of pulled this off like in a Monday morning, because as we all know, this hit the city tremendously. This is really for our guests. You know, one of the things I'm very proud of our club is our diversity. When we induct Wendy next week, that will be our 53rd member. We're 49% women in our club, 49% non-white. Our age is very varied from 18 to 85. A third of our club is 40 and under. A third of our club is 60 and over. Then we got a third in the middle. I'm at 55, I'm kind of in the middle. So we have age diversity, gender diversity, ethnicity. One of the things I'm very proud of, we have members who are immigrants from 9 different countries in our club. Well, Americans is one country, but then we have Mexico, we have Zambia, We have Nigeria, Algeria, Pakistan, India, Cameroon, Wendy's from Cameroon, and then we have Nepal. I just found out recently that Samyun, our newest board member, is immigrated from Nepal. So I love our diversity, and we're constantly growing, and the fact that we represent Plano in our community is exciting. Something else I want to do a little brag about is the service we do, which is the only reason people join our club. This Rotary year, we've done over 40 service projects. We've led over 700 volunteers to complete 1,300 volunteer hours of service. We've donated over $230,000 in goods. And I will say, we did that without writing a check. We don't have a lot of money. We're a poor club, but we partner with other nonprofits, other organizations, and that's how we've been able to provide over almost $250,000 in donated goods in the last, what is that, 8 months, and we're not done yet. So those are some of the things that I just want to brag about our club, because we do have a larger audience, and let Mr. Hewko see that what we do is one of the reasons why he agreed to speak with us. As we also do, one of the reasons I joined this club is every meeting, actually Michelle Thornton was our club president when I joined this club 2.5 years ago after moving from a different club. And we always talked about service projects, what we finished and what we're going to do. So I always want to do that in every meeting, because that's what inspired me to change clubs to Plano West Rotary. We have an upcoming project this weekend where we're with the city of Plano cleaning up Oak Point Park. Honestly, it's probably going to be moved. We have thunderstorms starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the city park department is looking into it. So chances are it's going to get moved again. But we have our 30-day act of kindness challenge. I encourage people to sign up for that. I think last thing I looked, we had about 16 people. That's basically doing service of self every day, doing something kind. Everybody on this call should sign up for the service project. All you got to do is do one act of kindness every day. We are a partnership with the Plano ISD School District starting March 18th, and then 22nd and 23rd, we're going to be helping the school district deliver meals to those in need. We're seeing a number of people sign up. Remember, in order to participate, you have to register with the Plano ISD volunteer process where they background check. You really want to do that by March 5th, because it's about a 2-week process for them to go through it. We have other projects we're going to be doing with the city. This particular one is 3 schools every month, but there's other projects we're going to be doing. So please do that. We've got a all Plano 4-way test speech contest, March 20th. That is a partnership with our Rotary Club, Plano Metro, Plano East, and Plano Sunrise Rotary Club. This is a Zoom speech contest for any high school student in Plano. If you know somebody that goes to high school in Plano, the school has to be in Plano. They can't live in Plano and go to a school outside of Plano, like Zane and Sammy. They lived in Plano, but they're in Frisco ISD. Their school has to be located in Plano. They can participate in this. And then each club, we're going to select 3 participants, the 3 from that all virtual, and then they're going to compete in our individual clubs, and then we'll send the winners of our individual club contest to the district contest. So send Plano High School students to that. That link kind of tells them everything they need to know. And then last but not least, Carolyn Diaz is running our cards for nursing homes, where people send cards to staff and residents in nursing homes every month. Carolyn is also one of our University of Austin club members, so she is able to manage this project while she's in Austin with Sammy as well. So that kind of talks about some of our upcoming projects. And as everybody, or maybe our guests don't know this, but our club members know this, the majority of our participants in our service projects are not members of our Rotary Club. In fact, at least 80% of them are not. So anybody on this call, whether you're a member or not, please sign up. And some of these, you don't even have to be in Plano. So even Mr. Hewko, you could sign up for the 30-day Acts of Kindness Challenge, because that's something you can do from anywhere in the world. So I encourage people to don't let COVID keep you down, sign up for service projects and do things. Whether you're a Rotarian or not, we can all exhibit service above self. So that's it for my club service component. Now, what I'm going to do is turn it over to my good friend, old friend, Ian Sullivan. I met Ian when I first joined Rotary in 2003. And so he was the one that enabled me to be able to contact Mr. Hewko to have us be able to speak. So Ian has a relationship with John. So Ian, it only made sense that he would introduce our guest speaker. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Ian.
Thank you so much, Alex. It is my privilege to be here today. I first met John shortly after he took this position in 2011. I was in training for being district governor in 2013-14. And, John, I'm not going to read the bio that you have all been provided with. I hate that. It's boring. I'd rather talk some things not on paper. John is a real underachiever. He really struggles. He survived the other 440 applicants for the job that he currently has. He's an attorney. He got his law degree at Harvard. That secondary school somewhere back east. Before that he was at Oxford. So John is obviously he is a classic underachiever. He leads a team that is worldwide. He supports 33,000 Rotary clubs all over the world. And I have a kind of an interesting connection to John that he may not even remember. But when I was governor in 2013, he was on a plane to Istanbul, and seated next to him on the plane was my son. And my son texted me the photograph, and it says, "Do you know this guy?" It was John Hewko. John has done amazing things for Rotary. He speaks 5 languages. He's, there's more than is even written in his bio, but I'll let John tell you that himself. So John, welcome to Plano West Rotary, a club that I am extremely proud of, and my friend Alex Johnson, who invited you. John Hewko.
Thank you so much, Ian, for that very warm and very generous introduction. Alex, thanks so much for the invitation to be with the Plano West Rotary Club today at your meeting. I'm sorry I joined a few minutes late. I was giving a speech for the district in Ukraine, near and dear to my heart. I'd lived in Ukraine for a long time. My parents are from Ukraine, and so they were having that meeting ran a little bit long, and so again I apologize for jumping on a little late. But I'm delighted to be here. Debbie, I caught the tail end of your induction. Welcome to Rotary, and I hope you have a great experience with our organization, along with the other 1.2 million fellow Rotarians that now you can consider as part of your worldwide family. Before I kind of launch into my comments, let me first of all just really congratulate this club for really just an outstanding story. Alex had sent to me the various statistics that were just up on the screen earlier, and when I saw them, I was just literally blown away. And I won't go through them again because you saw them on the screen, but they're really truly impressive. And I thought there were sort of 4 things that really jumped out at me when I saw what your club has been able to do over certainly the last year. I guess you more than doubled your membership, which is fantastic. Obviously, the diversity in your club is outstanding and notable, and a real example for other clubs to look at and follow. Your age range, 18 to 85, that's pretty unique in the Rotary world, and I really congratulate you on that. And also the comment you made, Alex, that really I think gets underemphasized, but it's really very important. in the Rotary world, and that is partnership. Like you said, you may not be a club with a lot of money, and I don't know what, but you said your club doesn't have, but you're doing a lot of great projects because you're partnering. You're partnering with other organizations, and that's also a concept that we've been really trying to encourage Rotarians and clubs to embrace. This idea of 1 + 1 is 3. And so that was another aspect as you were going through your presentation, Alex. It really jumped out at me, and then I congratulate you for doing that, because it's really through partnership, whether it be in polio or everything we do throughout the world, that we're going to even be able to leverage and make an even greater difference. So again, congratulations. I went on and saw your website, great website, fully branded. Which we still struggle to get all the clubs around the world to get in brand and get with it. It was a great website, very interesting, very interactive. So I really congratulate you on everything you do, and it's a real pleasure to be able to join you for this meeting today. Now, what I'd like to do is divide my comments today into two sections. One is to give you a global overview of where we are today as an organization. What are some of the challenges that we face as an organization, and then how diversity, how service, and how the foundation are going to be critical elements in moving our organization forward and dealing with some of the challenges that we face going forward. And again, as Ian mentioned, I have the privilege of being your general secretary. And as a general secretary, I have my primary obligation is to oversee the Rotary International Secretariat. As you know, Rotary's headquarters are located in Evanston, Illinois, which is a town that abuts Chicago. We own our own building. We have an 18-story building. We bought it back in the 80s. We use half of it for Rotary purposes, and the other half we lease out. In fact, we really encourage Rotarians from around the world to come and visit us. A lot to see in our building, a lot of great exhibits, great tour of the building. You can then go down to Chicago 1, First Rotary Club, do have a makeup meeting. In fact, my wife is a member of that club. She's the president-elect of Chicago 1. Then you go visit the Paul Harris home, which is sort of the Mount Vernon of Rotary. And then you can go visit the Paul Harris grave, which is nearby his home. And what's interesting is Paul is actually buried in the same cemetery as the founder of Lions. And the grave sites are very close together. And what's interesting is when you get out there and you go visit the Paul's grave site, it's a heck of a lot better than the guy from Lions. So even in death, Paul is competing with Lions and seems to be having a slight leg up on him. So please come and visit us. There's plenty to do. We welcome you. You can come. We give you briefings. The staff will meet with you, spend half a day giving you updates on what's going on in Rotary. Welcome visitors. That's my primary obligation. We oversee a staff of almost 800. About 575 of our staff is in Evanston, and then we also have 7 offices outside the United States where we have the remaining staff. Now, back in January, it was very clear to me last year that this COVID thing was going to go south and it was not going to be pretty for the world. And so I put together a COVID response task force within the Secretary to get us ready to move to this new virtual reality that we're currently now living in. I'm glad we did it. We were able to really take the months of January and February and get our systems sorted out. I sent everybody home for an entire day to practice what it would be like working virtually. I'm glad we did that. Got a lot of kinks out of the system. And then on March 12th, we went fully virtual, the entire Rotary Secretariat, as did the whole Rotary world. Transition was relatively seamless, relatively smooth. And so from an operational perspective, Rotary, and again, I'm giving you the global perspective, we are operationally very sound. The Secretariat continues to support Rotarians and Rotary clubs as we did prior to the pandemic. In fact, many areas are working even harder. We had to pivot from an in-person convention in Honolulu to a virtual convention. We had to put on a virtual international assembly. The convention in Taipei is going to be virtual as well. And so as we speak today, operationally, Rotary is very sound. Similarly, on the financial side of things, I get a lot of questions about what's going to happen to our membership globally in light of this pandemic that we're living through. And I like to manage by data, not by anecdote or by intuition. And so we're fortunate to have a PhD statistician on staff. And I asked him to look at the last 116 years. Actually, today's Rotary's birthday. Happy birthday, Rotary. We celebrate 116 years of Rotary. But to look at 115 years worth of data and sort of say what happened historically to our membership when other great crises hit the world. And then using that data, can we mathematically project out a model of what we anticipate happening to our membership? And what's interesting is in our history, there's only one year, where we saw a significant drop in our global membership. And that was a couple of years after the Great Depression, where membership fell at about 5.5%. Since then, in all the other great crises the world has faced, the 1918 pandemic, world wars, et cetera, we've seen either increases in membership, or to the extent there have been decreases, it's been on the order of 1 to 2%. We have to remember that a 1% drop in membership for Rotary represents an $800,000 loss of revenue in terms of membership dues. And even if we lost 5%, that's a $4 million loss of revenue. And your senior leadership through the year, Rotarians have been very prudent with your money. And so both Rotary International and Rotary Foundation have very significant reserves. And so we're well poised to weather any financial crisis that may happen due to a significant loss of membership. And then projecting out in the future, again, when we take the 115 years worth of data and you model it out, it shows that we're kind of our membership is projected to be within a band of 1 or 2% plus minus. So from an operational perspective as an organization, we're very, very strong. And from a financial perspective, I think we're on very, very strong footing. A lot of questions on what we've done as an organization to respond to COVID. And here I think we can be extraordinarily proud of Rotarians. Shortly after COVID hit, the Rotary Foundation trustees put together a fund that eventually grew to $7 million, where any Rotary district could apply for a one-time $25,000 grant for COVID-related activities. That fund has now been exhausted. More than 300 districts have received these COVID response grants. And in addition, we've approved over $20 million worth of global grants that are COVID specific and COVID related. So centrally, very quickly in the first few months of this crisis, we were able to move close to over $30 million centrally to Rotary clubs and districts for use in dealing with COVID. And that doesn't even scratch the surface of what clubs and districts all over the world are doing in response to COVID that doesn't pass through the Rotary Foundation, that doesn't pass through Rotary International. So I think all of us as Rotarians can be extraordinarily proud of what we've done as an organization in terms of stepping up, dealing with this COVID crisis on a global scale, and really making a difference. And the last point I'd like to make before I get to issues and problems and how we can move forward is polio. A lot of questions on what's happening with polio, what's going to happen in light of this crisis. We did have to stop door-to-door vaccination campaigns in the early part of the pandemic due to health and safety concerns. As you're aware, there's just 2 countries that are left, Afghanistan and Pakistan, where the wild polio virus is still circulating. Those campaigns have now been recommenced. They've restarted. We've got some ground to make up, but we're back to vaccinating. What is interesting is that we are now using the polio infrastructure, which has been developed through the years, and using a lot of it for COVID-related activities, surveillance, advocacy, et cetera. Vaccine distribution. Very similar to what happened in West Africa, if you recall, several years ago when we had the Ebola outbreak. The polio emergency operations centers, particularly in Nigeria, were extremely effective in helping stop the spread of Ebola in that country. So, it's still our main corporate project. We need to eradicate polio, and my message to Rotarians is that now more than ever we need to redouble our efforts to raise funds for polio. We have a 2-to-1 match from the Gates Foundation. If we raise and spend up to $50 million in any given year, we'll get an additional $100 million from the Gates Foundation. We met the $50 million last calendar year. We need to do it again this year. So we need to redouble our efforts to raise money for polio, make sure that we hit that full Gates match, and particularly since we got a little bit of ground to make up due to the suspension of vaccination campaigns in the early part of this pandemic. So operationally, we're strong as an organization. Financially, we're on strong ground. We've had a tremendous COVID response globally on the part of Rotarians. Polio continues. We need to redouble. We need to redouble our efforts. So what does all this mean for us going forward as an organization? And particularly, how is diversity, service, and TRF, the Rotary Foundation, going to play in our future? And the situation in the world is obviously very grim. This pandemic has been absolutely horrific. But very often in crises, you're kind of looking out at this wall of black clouds. Small little white clouds may appear on the horizon. And I think for Rotary, this crisis does represent an opportunity. Our membership has been, and I'll be very frank and open with you here, and I'm giving you again a global perspective. Your club is an anomaly in the sense that you've doubled your membership in more than doubled in a year, and that's absolutely fantastic. But globally, we've been flat at about 1.2 million for the last 20 some years. And we've only been able to stay flat because we're seeing significant membership growth in parts of in Asia, parts of Africa, Eastern Europe. In countries like the United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand, we're seeing Canada, significant membership drops, particularly here in North America. You know, by definition, US Rotarians made up 100% of Rotary back in 1905, right? We started in Chicago. Today, as we speak, US Rotarians make up about 25% of the global Rotary membership, and it's falling. And we anticipate that if the current trends continue, the US will be down to 10 or 15% within the next 7 to 10 years. More than half of Rotarians will be in Asia. And that's great. It's great that Rotary is growing in those places, but we need to grow Rotary everywhere, particularly in those countries that I just talked about, where we're seeing in parts of those countries significant membership declines. So what do we do about it? And why is the experience of your club so important as we formulate a strategy to move forward and deal with this issue? And for me, it comes down to the fact that, you know, we're selling a product to the marketplace. And so let's take the US as an example. What is it that we're selling in the US market? We're selling the club experience. The club experience. What is that experience? It's the experience you get when you join a Rotary club. And you pay for that experience with your time and your money. And we're finding in places such as the United States, or parts of areas of the United States, where people are either not buying our product, or when they buy it, they find it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. You know, last year we had 150,000 people join Rotary. We had 150,000 people leave Rotary. And so in some ways we were able to attract members, but we're not able to keep them. So we have a choice in front of us. You know, historically, it's been sort of one size fits all. We've been a one product shop around the world. Clubs, how they're organized, it's been pretty much uniform around the world. And it's been an extraordinarily successful model. And it continues to be extraordinarily successful in those countries and those areas that are seeing significant membership growth. But it's not working as well in these other countries. So we have two options. We can continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, or we can change. We can change our product. We can modify our product. We can begin thinking about new, innovative club models, new ways of doing things, so that we can fashion a product that's attractive to the marketplace that we're trying to penetrate and offers a value proposition. Because, you know, historically, you know, we were kind of unique in that Rotary offered an ability to network professionally, and it also offered an opportunity to do good in your community. And we brought both of those elements together. Well, now, although there's so many different options out there for you to both network professionally or to do good in your community. And so in my view, we need to change because the market is not going to change for us. And that is where I believe, as we could deal with the membership challenges in North America, the concepts of that your club really embodies of diversity, service, and use of and support of our foundation are going to be absolutely critical. And again, I'm preaching to the choir here, but you know, but diversity is absolutely critical because it's going to open our pool of members to a much wider audience. A club that's diverse, that's got different professions, different points of view, people from different countries, different perspectives. You know, you went through it, Alex, in terms of the diversity of your club. That not only strengthens the club, but makes the product that you're offering much more interesting and much more accessible to prospective new members. Service, absolutely critical. You know, we do surveys in terms of why people leave Rotary. And again, I'm giving you a global perspective. What keeps people in Rotary, and when do people tend to leave Rotary? And what's interesting is that the worldwide statistics clearly demonstrate that the longer you stay in Rotary, the less likely you are to leave. And the real danger point for somebody to leave Rotary happens in the second and third year of membership. That's where we find, on a global level at least, the greatest number of people leave our organization. And so, yes, we talk about bringing in new members. We also have to retain our members. And so we need to obviously focus on all of our members and make sure that they stay within our organization, but particularly to focus on those who are newer to Rotary. People like Debbie, who just joined our organization. by the second or third year, that's when, since someone does leave Rotary, that's when most people tend to leave. And that's where this whole concept of service is so important. You know, the old saying is, you join Rotary for the fellowship, you stay for the service. And I know my father's experience, my late father who died in December, Rotarian for over 30 some years, extraordinarily active in his club in Detroit. And what kept him really motivated and in Rotary was the service. He's from Ukraine. Both my parents are from Ukraine. They came to the States after the Second World War. And he was able to leverage and utilize his club, his district, and partnerships around the world to do fantastic projects, both locally, regionally, and back in his home country in Ukraine. And I just saw through his experience how that service component, that hands-on engagement, was absolutely critical in having in him being such a passionate Rotarian for so many years. So the concept of service is extraordinarily important as we try to grow our organization and to continue to make a difference. And finally, I'd like to talk about the foundation, why it's so important, and it ties into the issue of diversity, and it ties into the issue of service. The foundation is really the vehicle, or a very important vehicle, to really leverage and amplify our impact. You know, through global grants, through the district grants, that is a huge vehicle for Rotary clubs to truly make a difference. And through the global grant process, we can, you know, we really strengthen that internationality, that cross-border concept that's so critical in Rotary. As you're doing global grants outside with other countries, with other districts, you're not only making a great difference, but we're creating this whole concept of global citizenship, of people participating as global citizens. And it's not only through our global grants and through our projects, it's through our youth exchange. It's absolutely extraordinary, you know, the impact that our youth exchange has on creating this whole cadre of, for lack of a better word, global citizens. You know, every year we've got 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 students crisscrossing all over the world on our youth exchange programs, and we're truly making a difference. I can't tell you how many times I'm representing Rotary at an international conference or Davos or something, and someone will come up to me and I'll start talking to them. They say, I'm John Hewko, I'm with Rotary. They'll say, oh, Rotary, my God, what an incredible organization. I was a youth exchange student in high school. I went to Chile, and it made me who I am. I am who I am thanks to Rotary. And there's countless examples of, I can go to almost any major conference around the world, and I'm going to run into 4 or 5 people who say their lives were changed and they are who they are thanks to Rotary and the youth exchange program they were on, or even RILA and all the other stuff that we do. And then I ask them, do you have any sense of what Rotary is up to? And they'll say, not really. Have you stayed in touch with Rotary since then? Not really. But I do know it changed my life, and I am who I am today thanks to Rotary. So we've got a lot of work to do in terms of our alumni network, and we're doing that, trying to put together alumni associations, because there's so many people out there through our youth exchange whose lives we've influenced and created, people with a truly global perspective, and, as I said, global citizens. So as we think about the challenges that our organization faces, particularly here in North America, the concepts that your club is focused on, of diversity, of service, and of utilizing and leveraging the Rotary Foundation, in my view, are absolutely critical for moving our organization forward. And again, we have to realize that Rotary is a very diverse organization. 1.2 million members, 36,000 clubs, over 200 countries. The challenges we face is very different from country to country, from region to region. In fact, one of the trends I'm seeing in Rotary is this growing regionalization, where there are sort of different approaches to Rotary depending on where you are in the world. And so how we handle diversity is going to be different perhaps in North America or the United States than it might be in some other country. And what is a diversity issue will vary from country to country and from region to region. Concepts of service will also differ. What's important? What are the needs? What are we going to focus on, et cetera. But the concepts are universal. And I think they're the ones that are, those 3 things you've asked me to talk about, and which your club embodies, are the 3 concepts, in my view, that are really going to drive our organization forward. So finally, let me close on this thought, on this, why it's important for Rotary to be successful. Why it's important that we take those 3 concepts and live them and breathe them and make sure they're a reality. Why does the world need Rotary? Well, I think the world needs Rotary now more than ever. When you think about it, Rotary was built for moments like this. Unmatched global platform, deep, Rotarians, deep roots in almost every community in the world. I like to say, there's not a politician in the world that doesn't have a Rotarian as a constituent. I mean, we truly are a unmatched global platform. And so I think the world needs Rotary more than ever. We were made for moments like this. In fact, I would say this is our moment. I'm a huge ice hockey fan, big Detroit Red Wing fan. And I don't know if you recall the movie Miracle on Ice, before the US team went out to play the Soviets. Herb Brooks, the coach, is in the locker room, and I'm paraphrasing here, before he sends them out, he says, "Gentlemen, this is our moment. This is our moment." I would argue that this is Rotary's moment. This is our historic moment. This is our moment to continue to make a difference. And as Rotarians, I think each and every one of us can be enormously proud of what our organization has accomplished through the years, whether it be polio, whether it be all the thousands and thousands of local, regional, national projects that we've been involved in, whether it's RILA, whether it's our youth exchange, you name it, our fellowships. We are truly making a difference. And I think all of us can be extraordinarily proud of being a member of this truly unique and interesting organization. We have challenges, but we also have solutions. And so let me just close, Alex, by saying that I really congratulate your club. I was blown away by some of the information you sent me. I'd love to see if we can do a story in the Rotary magazine about your club, because I think you embody and represent exactly the sorts of things we need to be doing. And again, your formula, may or may not work in other places. Other formulas may or may not work here. It's, the challenges are different from region to region. The principles are universal, but the way in which you execute on them may differ from region to region. But certainly in your part of the world, you've led the way. You've shown how it has to, what works. And I want to congratulate you and thank you. And I'm honored to be with you today, and certainly happy to answer any questions or have thoughts or feedback that you might have. Thanks again.
Well, I will say before we ask questions, I'm going to thank you in the end later, but you're one of the best speakers we have. For one of the many points is you actually allowed time for questions. A lot of speakers.
Well, I'm a minute late. You asked me to finish at 12:50. I finished at 12:51. I'm sorry. I tried.
That's so appreciative. So let's go ahead. I'll let you run the Q&A session. Thank you.
Let's see here. Let's see. Are there any? I don't. Perhaps you can give me a hand here, Alex, on the chat, whether there are any questions. But again, I'm happy to.
I see a bunch of hands. Zane, are you paying attention? Zane's our kind of Zoom master.
Oh, okay.
So can you kind of call out who's asking questions, Zane?
Ian.
All right, John, one of the things you said, that we may differ in our application from one region to another, but I maintain that the one thing that is central to whether it's Rotary in Asia or Rotary in Plano, Texas, is the concept of service. And that's what this club, why I am so proud of this club, because they have put service above self in everything that they do. And that service is attracting people, other members to come join them. So, the principle of service is the key to membership, along with the other things that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of, through our history, it's kind of been an evolution, right? Because when you think about what was the main purpose that Paul Harris established Rotary, the fellowship was part of it, but it was really the business networking. Rotary in 1905 was LinkedIn. It was basically LinkedIn before anybody had heard of LinkedIn. And that was, so if you look at the archives of the Chicago One Club, in those early years, every member had to show up at a meeting with a lead card and give it to another member. That brought up the whole class. That's why they had the classification system. It was about helping each other in their relevant businesses. And if you didn't show up for 2 or 3 meetings without a lead card for somebody, they'd ask you to politely leave the club. And then later on, that sort of service component was added. And then for a while, there was this balance. Are we a networking fellowship thing, or are we about service and whatever? And I think you're absolutely right, Ian, that the pendulum is now, I think, swung historically to where the service piece is kind of the front and center And it's sort of, I think, beginning to sort of dwarf that kind of professional networking thing. And then I guess the philosophical question that comes up is, do we need to sort of balance it out a little? Do we need to bring back a little bit more of that professional networking piece as another way of perhaps attracting members to our organization? So, but I think you're absolutely right. Today, as we speak, the service component is extraordinarily important.
Howard?
Thank you. John, I was really disturbed to hear that the Council of Legislation had received a, I forgot the correct term for it, but a motion perhaps is that the General Secretary should be replaced after every 5 years. And personally, I've only been a Rotarian for 11 years, but in the whole time I've been a Rotarian, I've been nothing but impressed by the superb leadership and management that you've exhibited and performed on our behalf. So I hope that's died along the way, but I haven't heard anything lately.
Yeah, thanks so much, Howard. Yes, there were a couple of districts in Japan, and I think this is all coming out of Japan, who are proposing to the council, which means in April of 2022, that the term of the General Secretary, I think, be limited to 10 years, something like that in total. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I think the board is taking a look at it right now. I personally, it's probably, even if I put my own personal interest aside, it's probably not an ideal provision to have in your constitution and your bylaws. I think really, the board is well placed to figure out who they want as general secretary for how long. And of course, I go through a rigorous review process every year, et cetera. So again, it's out of my hands. It's really for the council to decide, and we will see how it pans out.
Very quickly, my brother David said to say hello.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, David's a great guy, and tell him I said hi.
Will do.
Jenny, one of our young adults, has a question.
Hi, John. Nice to meet you. Thank you for talking to us today. That was the first thing. But also second, when you were talking about the statistics, it's like trying to get the Rotary numbers up. Well, as an example of like Japan or maybe the United States, currently like the growth rate is going down. So how does Rotary, I guess, predict for, not predict, I guess, like more plan for like those kinds of outcomes? I was just curious.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, we have a very, very solid reserves. Rotary leadership through the years has done a great job of stewarding your money, of successfully investing it well. So both the Rotary Foundation and Rotary International have healthy reserves. Obviously, with this pandemic, we're concerned, right? I mean, we have seen a membership decline from last year to this year around 1-2%. So it's not been huge, and we'll see what happens this coming year. And so I think the way you stem that is try to, okay, what is causing it? Where is it, and how, and what are the solutions? And in my view, it really just comes down to what is the product you're selling and what is the relevant marketplace interested in buying, and shaping and creating and offering products that people are willing to buy. We're a really tradition-bound organization, 115, 116 years, and in great traditions. But it's also an organization where it's been a real challenge to get people to think differently. And that's where I think another one of these silver linings in this COVID has been that we've been trying really hard to get people to adopt technology and, hybrid meetings and e-clubs and use of technology. And it's been really, really tough. And then all of a sudden in March, all 1.2 million Rotarians had to go virtual. And all of a sudden people realized that, oh my God, this isn't so bad. And it's obviously that we all can't wait to meet back again in person. But I think it has opened up a whole new door of possibilities. So Jennifer, you asked the right question, and the board and leadership up and down the chain, and Howard, when you're governor, these are big issues that we're going to have to tackle and continue to tackle.
John, thank you very, very much. In order to respect everybody's time, especially knowing you probably have another engagement, and I don't want you to say they ran late. So we're going to end on time. I think it's one of the things, just a personal note, a number of people that have talked to me over the years, I've kind of used the same analogy you did. I felt Rotary, we're selling a product, and we're selling memberships, and we're doing it through service is my analogy. So it was kind of cool to hear you say that, because a lot of people look at me funny when I say that. So I'm glad you agree, and it's working for us, because service is what we are bringing in members for. One of the things we do for all our speakers, even though I know this isn't anything new to you, we make a donation to the Polio Plus program in the name of our speakers. So I don't want to leave you out of that honor. And so as we provide a certificate of appreciation, and in John Hewko, in appreciation of your time and program, Plano West Rotary will donate $10 in your name to Rotary's Polio Plus Fund, together with the 2-to-1 matching funds from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That $10 turns into $30, which, as you know, provide polio vaccine for about 50 children. One thing we always like to point out to everybody that our polio infrastructure is also going to aid in the vaccination of COVID-19. So we like everybody to know that we're all contributing to eradicating polio and eradicating COVID-19. And so once again, thank you very much for speaking to us. And it's been an honor for our entire club. To close out our meeting, I want to tell our members, next week we have Heritage Farmstead Museum. Mary M. Lou Taylor Hintonen, I probably butchered her name. She'll be speaking to us about the Farmstead Museum. And then to finally close out our meeting, even though I'm a minute over, I am going to ask that Fred Biemendorfer is going to lead us in the 4-way test. Take it away, Fred.
Right.
Is he unmuted? Zane, can you unmute him?
Yeah, I was asked him to unmute. Fred, you're muted.
Am I unmuted?
You're good
Can you hear
now.
me?
All right.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, would you join me in the 4-way test? Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotary.
Rotary. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.
Bye, thank you.